Dear devotees, now I request your full attention. Yesterday when I was packing to come to Trinidad, I started thinking I'm going to take a journey, but I thought of another journey, the journey of life. And the journey of one life to another. I started thinking about that, and I would like to share my thoughts with you. We're all on a journey. And when this journey is done, we will embark on another journey. The question is, are we ready? For me, coming to Trinidad, taking that journey, I had to be ready. Anyone who takes a journey, anyone who takes a trip must be ready. There are many preparations that I made and many preparations that everyone makes. So are we making the necessary preparations for our big journey? The most important journey? Are we ready? That is the question. When we embark on a journey, we pack many things. Are we packing the right things that we need to pack for that journey? That is a very important question. When you embark on a journey, you take the necessary things, your personal effects, your clothing, your toiletries, this and that. What do we pack for that journey that we take from one life to another? And what do we pack it in? What are we packing, and what do we pack it in? What we are packing is our thoughts. Our thoughts are considered to be actions in the eyes of God. In the eyes of the world, what we do physically with our hands, with our eyes, ears, with our body, what we do physically, that is considered to be an action by the world. But in the eyes of God, it is what we are thinking. Our thoughts are considered to be our actions. What kinds of actions, what kind of karma are we taking with us to the next life? What are those actions, what are those thoughts contained in? What are we packing them in? That would be our mind. Our thoughts are without form. We don't see our thoughts. And what we pack those thoughts in, that the mind, that is also without a form. It is amorphous, it doesn't have a form. What kind of thoughts are we packing? We have to ask ourselves. There are thousands of thoughts that pass through our mind every single day. Sometimes we are surprised. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? What was I just thinking? So many random thoughts come into the mind. Do you agree with that? So many random thoughts come into the mind. So many of the thoughts that we are thinking, they are unimportant. Some of them are just laughable, and some of them are very sad that we should be thinking those thoughts. Every thought that comes into our mind, every thought we have is not worth packing. In the cold countries where there's snow and snow turns to ice, little children, sometimes what they like to do is they like to stick their tongue out and they touch the ice that's formed on a pillar or on the wall somewhere. And there was a girl, 13-year-old girl, it came to her mind, I wonder how it feels to stick my tongue out and stick it there on the ice, on the pillar. And she said, let me try it, and she did. And her tongue got stuck. And she panicked. And her little friends also panicked. They called 911. Emergency services came. And they tried many methods, and they finally got her tongue unstuck. So that thought, I wonder what it feels like to stick my tongue on this ice. Not a good thought, not a useful thought. There was once a farmer in India, and he had many cows. One of the cows has horns. It had horns, and the horns were shaped in this way, so they formed like a circle. And the farmer was always fascinated when he saw these horns. And every time he was milking the cow or looking at the cow, he thought, I wonder. What was he thinking? I wonder if my head fits in that hole, that circle. So he thought about it for weeks and months, and one day he said, I'm going to try it. So the cow was resting, and the farmer went to the cow and then tried to put his head through the horns, and he was very pleased because the head fit. But after that, it wasn't so good because the head got stuck. The head got stuck, so he was trying every which way to loosen his head and get the head out, and he couldn't. So when he was going back and forth like this, trying to get his head loose, the cow woke up, and the cow became surprised. What's happening? And the cow became devastated. What's going on with me? The cow got up, bearing the load of this man, fully grown man, this farmer, and the cow started running, just running wildly. And this man now is airborne, and he is in trouble. And he is now saying, help me, help me. Very loudly he's yelling to anyone who could hear him, but unfortunately nobody could hear him because his fellow farmers were far away. After some time, when he started yelling very, very loudly, they heard him. They came running, and they came upon this wonderful scene. And they rubbed their eyes. They said, we've never seen anything like this. What's going on? How did this happen? And well, they thought the first thing to do is to stop the cow from running. And they did that. The cow was, she was stopped. And then they tried to, and that was with great difficulty, then they tried to pry this man's head out, and that was even more difficult. But they managed. Then they took him to task. They said, why did you do that? He said, I wanted to know if my head fit. And they said, what, didn't you think about it before you did something foolish like this? And he said, I did. I did think about it. I will have you know that I thought about it for 6 months before I tried it. So these thoughts, they're frivolous. They are not worth having. They're not worth packing in the mind. But there are some wonderful thoughts that we should have and that we should invite into our mind. Thoughts like, what is my goal in life? God gave me the human form, human birth, and there are such few humans in comparison to all the other animals and other creatures, insects, birds, even plants and trees that are growing here. They're all living creatures. And I was born a human. I belong to a very exclusive club that has very few members. So what is my responsibility in life? What is my mission in life? What is this world all about? What is my relationship with the world? And what is my relationship with God? How can I love God? How can I control my mind? How can I become a better version of myself? Such questions are the most important questions that we can ask and we should be asking of ourselves. These are the questions we should ask and try to answer. And we think to ourselves, how do I know? How do I know what God would want me to think? How do I get those right thoughts into my head? How can I know about the right thoughts that I should have? Well, God, our Creator, He gives us birth, He gives us life, so He doesn't just leave us alone to figure these questions out for ourselves. He gives us the answers. every action of ours is very, very important. In other words, every thought is extremely important because every action has a reaction. Every thought that we have will bear fruit. As I said, the world looks at what we are doing physically, and people of the world will say, okay, you did this, because they see us doing it physically. But God looks deep inside, looks into our mind and says, this is what you thought, and that is your action. So every action bears fruit. Avashyameva bhoktavyam kritang karma shubha shubham. Every action, whether it is shubha, meaning virtuous, or ashubha, sinful, every action bears consequence. कर्म प्रधान विश्व करि राखा, जो जस करिय सो तस फल चाखा. Ramcharitmanas, Ramayana. In the Vedas, in Kathopanishad more specifically, there's a verse that says, Yo nimanye prapadyante sharirattvaya dehinah Sthanumanyenu sanyanti yatha karma yatha shrutam. Chapter 2, mantra number 7. The form of life that we get in the next time around, it's completely dependent on our actions of the present. Our actions of the present will decide our journey for the future. What form of life will I take? Well, that depends on my karma, my actions. Jagat Guru Shri Kripalu ji Maharaj, my Gurudev, used to tell a very interesting story in this context, that every action has a reaction. There was a queen in the olden days, when there were kings and queens. There was a queen, and she was served by many servants and maid servants, and one of them was a chambermaid. That maid used to make the queen's bed and take care of the bedroom. One day the queen was out of her chambers, and the chambermaid was making the bed. And the bed was so soft. Every day the chambermaid would make the bed. But today she had a great desire to lie down on the bed. The bed was so soft, so fragrant, so comfortable. So the chambermaid thought, the queen is not due back for another hour. She's in the court, darbar, and she's dealing with her ministers and so many important matters. She's not due for another hour. I will latch the door so nobody else can come in accidentally, and I will just lay on the bed for a minute or so. Well, she lay down on the bed, and that was a pleasure she had never tasted before. She had never laid on such a beautiful and such a soft and fragrant bed. And when you taste a pleasure for the very first time, it's very intoxicating. So she became so intoxicated with that happiness that she promptly fell asleep. Then very soon she went into a deep sleep, in which there are no dreams. It's called sushupti in Sanskrit. She went into sushupti, dreamless state of sleep, deep sleep we call it. And an hour passed and she was just gone. She was sleeping soundly. In the meantime, the queen came back and she could not gain entrance into her own bedroom. And she knocked and there was no answer. She knocked harder, there was no answer. She called her servants and they broke down the door. And there was a chambermaid sleeping very nicely, comfortably on the bed. The queen started yelling, and immediately the chambermaid woke up, and she didn't know where she was, what to do, what to say. She was stunned. But the queen knew what to do. She ordered the chambermaid to be punished. She said, 50 lashes for this insolent woman. Well, when she was receiving those lashes, she was in great pain, and she was crying out. But after a few lashes, she started laughing. And the queen thought, has she gone mad? Why is she laughing? But this chambermaid kept on laughing, so the queen said, okay, stop. And she asked the woman, you foolish woman, why are you laughing? The answer the chambermaid gave was a very beautiful one. Please listen carefully. She said, "O Queen, I laid on your bed for 1 hour and I'm being punished so much, 50 lashes for 1 hour of sleeping on your bed. So I'm just thinking how many lashes you're going to get. Because you're sleeping on your bed every night for hours and you've been doing that for years. So how many lashes will you be getting?" And the queen was stunned. Every action has a reaction. We should not think, "Oh, well, nobody watched me do it. Nobody saw me do it." There's God sitting inside of us saying, "I'm watching everything." And when you think such thoughts, if you're thinking these sinful thoughts, then I'm very saddened by that. When you think good thoughts, that brings a smile to my face. But our question is, how do I know which thoughts to think? God says, look, I've told you in the Vedas. We have in Sanatan Vedic Dharma known as Hinduism, we have the 4 Vedas, the ultimate knowledge contained in the 4 Vedas. The Vedas are eternal, they are timeless. Therefore, Hinduism is timeless. There's not a time. You cannot pinpoint a time when Hinduism started because there was never a time when it started. It has always been in existence because the Vedas have always existed. So the 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sam and Atharva Ved, they tell us, and then they're Vedic scriptures. Scriptures based on the Vedas, they tell us, in the scriptures, God tells us what kind of thoughts we should be packing for our journey, onward journey. For our onward journey. In the Vedas, God tells us, Ma hinsyat sarva bhutani. My dear children, do not have violent thoughts. Do not entertain thoughts of violence towards any creature. Many times, our Hindu sisters and brothers ask, well, where does it say in our scriptures that I can't eat meat? Well, God says, Ma hinsyat sarva bhutani. Do not be violent towards any living creature. Right there. In one sentence, God has said it. So we should not have violent thoughts. Not towards humans, not towards animals. That's God's instruction to His children. God instructs us to have thoughts of compassion, compassionate thoughts. Be forgiving, be compassionate, and be generous. God tells us, be generous. Shraddhaya deyam, give charity, give with faith. Give charity, to have charitable thoughts. Don't have thoughts of miserliness. Don't be stingy. Be generous. Give, give, give. Give with faith that charity is good for you. But if you say you don't have that faith, give anyway. Ashraddhaya deyam. Give without faith. Hriya deyam, give out of shame. Everybody's giving, I should also give. Give out of fear. If I don't give, then I'm breaking the laws of God. And God says, Dashamanshena dhimata, you must give 10% of what you earn. So if I don't give, then the consequence is very terrible. I should give. Give any which way. So God tells us, be generous. Have thoughts of generosity. God is telling us how to think. What kind of thoughts we should have. Let me share with you what Garuda Puran says. Adattadanacha bhaved daridri daridra bhavacha karoti papam papa prabhavan narakam prayati punar daridraha punareva papi. In Garuda Puran it is said that if you don't have thoughts of giving, then you will not act, you will not give. And if you don't give, then you are born poor in your next life. Daridri, poor. And you're born so poor that you have to resort to a life of crime to support yourself and your family. Because you're committing those crimes, you are sent to hell after death. And when you come out of hell and when you finally become deserving of the human birth again, then you punareva, punar daridra punareva papi, punareva, again, you are daridri, you are born in a poor family, and again you become papi, you become a sinner because you commit crimes to fill your stomach. At different places in different scriptures, God tells us that we should have thoughts of generosity, that we should not be miserly, that we should give. So God is telling us what kind of thoughts we should be packing in our mind. Thoughts come randomly. So when you say, well, I don't know, these thoughts are really disturbing me, they're coming into my mind. If these are disturbing thoughts, here's what you do. You observe them, just in a neutral way. Oh, this thought came into my mind, it's a thought, it's not a pleasant thought, it's not a good thought. So what should I do? Just observe it, be neutral, don't accept it, let it pass through your mind. Okay then, bye-bye. Say bye to it, let it go. Don't dwell on it, don't think about it. Thoughts of anger come in. Ever have thoughts of anger? Yes? No? Yes? Everybody does. Anybody who doesn't ever get angry, raise your hand. Oh! There's one person there. Never, huh? That's great. Good. Very evolved, yes. Thoughts of anger come into the mind, thoughts of envy enter the mind, thoughts of, jealousy, thoughts of, all sorts of thoughts come in that we don't want to have and we should not have. Just observe them, let them pass. But when the good thoughts come in, those are thoughts worth having, then you invite them in and you say, please come in, have a seat and stay. Don't leave. Don't leave my mind. Stay right here. We know what to do because our scriptures tell us what to do. God tells us what to do in the scriptures. But I don't know what's in the scriptures. That's the next question. I don't know what's in the scriptures. I don't read Sanskrit. But the scriptures will tell you that even if you know Sanskrit, you don't know what's in the scriptures. Because understanding the scriptures is not about knowing the language that they're written in. Understanding the holy books, it's all about being at the same mental level as the one who wrote the scriptures. So the ones who wrote the scriptures are divine. They are saints, sant. They have the knowledge that God has given to them personally. So they have the same knowledge as God. Bhagwan Vedavyas wrote the Bhagavad Gita. So to understand the Gita by yourself, you would need the intelligence of Vedavyas. I don't have that intelligence. What do? Can I not understand the Gita? Can I not understand the Purans? There are 18 Purans. We have so many scriptures. So can I not understand it? No, not by yourself, no. So our scriptures say you need a guru, you need a divine teacher, someone who has attained God, someone who has surrendered fully to God, and God has given him, he has accepted God as his everything. So God says, all right, I will give you everything I have because you are my heir. I'm going to hand over everything to you. I'm going to give you unlimited happiness. I'm going to give you unlimited knowledge. And just because God has given unlimited knowledge and happiness to this one who has surrendered everything to him, doesn't mean that God is left with nothing now. God has unlimited knowledge. When he gives unlimited knowledge away, unlimited minus unlimited equals unlimited. God still has unlimited knowledge. He gives away unlimited happiness, but he remains with unlimited happiness. So Saint Tulsidas, who wrote the Ramayana, he has the same intelligence as Bhagwan Shri Ram, because Bhagwan Shri Ram has given him the divine knowledge. So to understand even the Ramayana, which is written not in Sanskrit, not Tulsidas Ji's Ramayana, it's written in a very familiar language, Hindi, Avadhi. Many people understand it, the language. But you can understand the story when you read the Ramayana. You can't understand the knowledge in it. The story is beautiful. It makes us cry. It's so beautiful. But what is the knowledge of the Ramayana? You'd have to learn it from a saint, a guru. So God tells us what we should be thinking, what our thoughts should be like in the scriptures. And to understand the scriptures, we need a guru. Guru binu bhavanidhi tarai na koi, jo viranchi sankar sam hoi. Guru binu hoi ki gyan. In the Ramayana it is said that you think you can attain knowledge without a guru? You cannot. And it could be someone as great as Bhagwan Shankar. You could be so great, but without a guru you cannot attain the true knowledge of God. You can't attain true knowledge without the guru. When Ravan was laying on his deathbed on the battlefield, and Bhagwan Ram said to Lakshman, Bhagwan Ram said, Bhaiya, go. Lakshman, go to Ravan. He knows the 4 Vedas. And this is the perfect opportunity for you to ask him for instruction. Ask him to share his knowledge with you. Lakshman went to Ravan as Ravan was laying wounded on the battlefield. And he sat beside Ravan's head. He said, Maharaj, please teach me something. Give me knowledge. And the first knowledge that Ravan gave to Lakshman was that if you're asking for knowledge, you are a disciple. You don't sit beside the Guru's head and ask for knowledge. And so he scolded Lakshman, said, go sit at my feet. You're asking me for knowledge. You need to sit at my feet. And Lakshman said, I'm sorry. So Lakshman sat at the feet of Ravan and said, Maharaj, please instruct me. Ravan said, Lakshman, there are 2 things I've learned in life. Number 1, if a good thought comes into your mind, act on it right away. Don't wait. Do not wait. A lot of people say, I thought of doing a satsang, but you know what? Then I just thought about it for a couple of days and I thought, nah, can't do it. I can't make that. No. But you should have acted on it right away. I thought of giving charity, but then the roof started leaking and the money went there. Because I waited for a week. And this is a true story. A lady said to one of the devotees, I want to give $10,000 to Maharajji's mission. But can you come to the bank with me? And the other satsangi said, can we go tomorrow? And then she said, I'm ready to go to the bank tomorrow, or the next day. And that lady, who was her own sister-in-law, said, oh, I'm so sorry, I think I really can't afford that. So it takes 24 hours, sometimes it takes 1 minute to change the mind. So when a good thought comes, Lakshman, when a good thought enters your mind, act on it right away. Immediately, don't wait. When a bad thought enters your mind, wait. Procrastinate. What we do is the opposite, right? When a good thought comes, we just wait on it. Let me just wait until it passes. When a bad thought comes, we act on it. Let me get angry right now. Let me tell you off right now. Let me beat you up right now. Let me punch you out right now. And then we think, oh, I'm such a fool. Why did I do that? Why did I yell and scream like a madman? Why did I do that? And then we regret our actions. We should have waited. So Lakshman, when a good thought enters your mind, act on it immediately. When a bad thought enters your mind, just wait. There was a a rishi who lived in the jungles, and he was married and he had a son. One day, he got very angry at his wife and he told his son, "Beta, I want you to kill your mother. That's my instruction." The son said, "Exactly. What?" Like you reacted. He said, "Father, I can't kill my mother. But you're my son. You must obey me. Pitri devo bhava." The son said, "But matri devo bhava also. If your father is God unto you, so is the mother." No, no, no. I want you to kill your mother." And then the rishi went off. And the son thought, how can I kill my own mother? He just kept delaying that. I can't do it. Then a few hours later, his father came running. The rishi came running. He said, "Son, did you kill your mother?" "Sorry, father, I cannot kill my mother." "Oh, thank God." I don't know what I was thinking. What was I thinking? I was so angry. "I'm so glad you waited." We are presented with such opportunities every day when we think, I just want to give her a piece of my mind. I'm going to tell him off in a way that he'll always remember. Fact is, he may or may not remember, but we will remember. Oh, I said this, I did that, and we remember it. But we say, oh, he will remember. No, we will remember. It will impact us more than him. So, saints are there, Guru is there to teach us, tell us what is in the scriptures. This is why, did you know that in the Ramayana it is said, "More man prabhu as vishwasa, Ram te adhik Ram kar dasa, Ram sindhu ghan sajjan dhira, Chandan taru hari Sant Samira." I have firm faith, says Tulsidas ji, that the saint, the Guru, is greater than, even greater than God. God is Bhagwan, Ram is like the samudra, like the ocean. And the ocean has water, and we are very thankful to the ocean for giving us water. But that water, we cannot drink it because it's salty. We can't drink it, we can't use it. So the clouds come in, they absorb the water from the salty water from the ocean, then they convert it into rain, they convert it into sweet water, then they give us the rain, and that rainwater we can use. So we are very thankful to the ocean for giving us water, but we are even more thankful to the clouds for sweetening that water and giving it to us so that we can use it. So Bhagwan Ram is the ocean. Saints, the Guru is the, saints are the clouds. In other words, saint or Guru, synonyms. A saint or Guru, divine Guru, one who has a divine knowledge of God. He will give you the knowledge of God. He will impart to you the love of God. But if you say to Bhagwan Shri Ram or Bhagwan Shri Krishna, please, you teach me about yourself, God says, no, I will give that. I have given over that task to the Guru. So I will send the Guru to you, and you listen to him, surrender to him, serve him. Serving him means you're serving me. Until you come to my abode, Saket Lok or Golok, then you can serve me directly. Until then, you serve your Guru. Serve your Guru's mission. In Hinduism, in Sanatan Vedic Dharma, the Guru holds a very, very great position, the greatest position. Nasti tattvam guroh param. There is no entity, no personality greater than the Guru. Our scriptures are telling us this. So the Guru teaches us the instructions of God, the do's and don'ts that God has told us, but we are not able to understand. So the thoughts that we are having now, every single day, through those thoughts, we are shaping our future. When we take that journey, final journey of life, then we go into another life. What kind of life will I have? what kind of form will I have? What will I be born as? I want to be born a human. But that's not up to us to decide. It will be decided by God, who will look at our actions. So every single day becomes very important for all of us. Because every single day we are thinking thoughts, and every single day we need to be very cautious as to what kind of thoughts we are choosing to have in our mind. As I said earlier, many kinds of thoughts come into the mind. You can't help that. Because of our old sanskars, many bad thoughts come in, many good thoughts also, many godly thoughts come in also, many negative thoughts come in, many positive thoughts come in. But it is up to us to decide which thoughts we will keep in the mind. Negative thoughts are coming. I'll never succeed. I'm not going to succeed. I'm just going to fail. It's not going to happen. And these negative thoughts weigh us down. But then we can choose to say, no, this is not true. I will work hard. I will succeed. The only way we can fail is if we don't try at all. But if we are trying, we are succeeding. Our mind, those old sanskars, old thoughts we have thought from previous lives, they come and they disturb us. But now in this life, we have the freedom, we have the ability to keep those thoughts or discard them. We can actively choose to feel happy in life or feel miserable. We can choose to look at people and say, these are good people. And this is a wonderful place. Or find fault. Why do you have that picture over there? You should have done this better. You could have hung that over there. You could have done it a different way. We can be very critical. We can have those thoughts. Or we can say, this is so wonderful. It's such a beautiful place to hold a satsang, right? It's all up to us. In everyday life, we have to choose what to keep in our mind and what to reject. Because you see, God has given us the ability to perform actions. There are three kinds of karma, three kinds of actions. Karma means fruit-bearing action, not just action, but fruit-bearing actions. We humans are very fortunate in that we are the only children of God who have the freedom, who have been given the freedom to perform karma, fruit-bearing actions. The other creatures are given the freedom to perform actions, but their actions don't bear fruit. They cannot do karma. So there is sanchit karma, first of all, unlimited actions that the thoughts we have had in countless previous lives, sanchit, accumulated. And in every life, we are given some of those actions that bear fruit. From sanchit karma, there's a stock of unlimited actions. God takes some of them and say, okay, I'm giving you in this life. Those are called prarabdha karma, what we call in English destiny. We said, this is my destiny. Destiny that we have created for ourselves. Some of our unlimited actions now are bearing fruit in this life. That is our destiny. But so many people say, oh, I'm bound by destiny. What can I do? I have no freedom, nothing. No, that's not true. So many people say Hinduism is a passive religion, that everything's depending on destiny. That is not true. Because there's a third action, which is called kriyaman. Kriyaman karma, these are the actions that we have the freedom to perform now. New actions, fresh actions. So, in fact, Hinduism is very active. It teaches us that we can be very active. We are not passive. It doesn't teach us passivity, but it teaches us to be very active. Grab hold of your life and create a better destiny for yourself. This is what our religion teaches us. So, because we have kriyaman karma, we can perform kriyaman karma, new actions, we can decide what kind of thoughts to have and what kind of thoughts not to have. When an intruder comes, let's say intruder comes into your home and you say, who are you? Well, I was just wandering and I needed to have a shelter. Get out of my house. You'll push that intruder out, right? Push him out. Get out and lock the door. Well, the same thing has to be done with thoughts. These thoughts are coming in. No, I don't want you to disturb my mind. Get out of here. And you can actually visualize those thoughts and get them out of your mind by just pushing them out. Just visualize. Next time a thought comes into your mind that you don't want, just give it a shape, give it a form, and then think, I'm pushing it out. Push it out. And then you will not be bothered by that thought. Or at that time, better thing to do is to just utter the name of God, chant the name of God. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayan Vasudeva, He Nath Narayan Vasudeva, He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Right? Or something simpler, like Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe. Now I would like to tell you briefly about how to set the pace for the day. Every day, how to set a good pace so that you'll have good thoughts. The best thoughts we can have are the thoughts of God. The best thoughts. So, this may not be anything new to you, but I'll repeat what you already know then, in that case. Because reminders are very important. The first thing to do then is to think thoughts of God. And I don't mean just doing puja. Puja is great, but along with the puja, which is done by the hands, you need to think about God. The thoughts have to be on God as we do puja. Or you could be doing kirtan, and that's wonderful, but don't just do kirtan. Think of God as you're doing kirtan. This is called sadhana. Sadhana simply means practice. The practice of bringing God into the mind, that is sadhana. So, early in the day, if we start bringing thoughts of God into the mind, then the whole day we are very likely to have good thoughts because we started off with the best thoughts possible. And when we bring God into the mind, if we are really thinking of God, not just paying lip service, then what happens is something wonderful. Because God comes into our mind and brings along with Him all His qualities. The qualities of God. Truthfulness. And God tells us, be truthful. Satyam vad, speak the truth. God is all about truthfulness, gentleness, compassion, humility. God says to us, when we decide, as we try to decide, what kind of thoughts should I have? Have humble thoughts. Think yourself to be lower than other people. And I don't mean by saying that, God does not say you should feel that you are the worst of the worst. Not like that. But lower meaning the other person is a better devotee. And I should learn from him. I should learn from her. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaneha sada harihi. Ashtapadi by Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Be more humble than a blade of grass. So humility is a trait of God. And then tolerance is another trait of God. Tolerance. Even if the other person is behaving in a very undesirable way, but you still tolerate it, you don't get angry. You become tolerant. Be more tolerant than a tree. When we pelt stones at the tree gives us fruits, sweet fruits to eat. The tree is so tolerant. So tolerance is a godly quality. A lot of people in the 21st century, people will say, look at the fool he is. You know, somebody told him, that man told him off, and this man is just smiling. What a fool he is. What if he's not a fool? What if he is highly evolved, spiritually evolved? That he has become tolerant. He's humble, he's tolerant because he has thought about God and godly qualities have come inside. So godly qualities come into our mind as we think of God. So humility, compassion, gentleness, and when these qualities enter our mind or a heart, then the other qualities have no place to stay, like envy, hypocrisy, anger. All those qualities, nasty qualities, the evils, they leave our heart. So to have good thoughts throughout the day, start the day with the best thoughts, the thoughts of God. Shed tears before God. That I am your child, but I'm an unworthy child of yours. I don't love you enough. I love the world too much. Beg God for His grace. And tears melt the heart of God. Nothing melts His heart like tears. So shed tears of love. Shed tears of union with God. Shed tears of separation from God. Shed tears of repentance before God. Any which way, shed tears before Him. Accept Him to be yours. Surrender to Him. And those thoughts will go a long way in having good thoughts throughout the day. It's not by accident that we have good thoughts. Why is it that some people are so positive? And why are other people so negative that nobody wants to talk to them? Nobody wants to go near them. And others are so positive, everyone gravitates towards them. It's not by accident that some people have negative thoughts and some people have positive. It is by design. It is through practice. It is by bringing God into the mind. It doesn't happen accidentally. So we need to shape our mind. We need to think of the big picture. We need to think of that journey that we'll be going on. And God will ask us, what did you bring? What did you pack in the suitcase of your mind? What are we going to say then? You know, when you open your suitcase, at the airport they sometimes open your suitcase. And they open my suitcase more than once. These clothes somehow make them feel that I'm a suspicious person. And so they open my suitcase, and once this young girl, she was examining my suitcase, she goes, "Oh, you must love orange. All your clothes are orange." I said, "Yes, I love orange. It's the only color I wear." But you know, when they open your suitcase and you say, "Oh my gosh, I packed it so messily," right? You become embarrassed. So when we open the suitcase of our mind, what is God going to find there? After all, we do the right thing because we are afraid of humans, right? We're afraid of what others will say about us. My Gurudev always used to say that, you do the right thing because you're afraid of humans looking at you and judging you, but you have no concern with God. That God will look at you and what will He think of you? So we need to think, what is in the suitcase of my mind? What will God think? How will I be judged? Oh, these thoughts of envy, so many thoughts of anger, frustration, so many negative thoughts. Is that what I want to pack in the suitcase of my mind? No. I want to pack nice thoughts, good thoughts, devotional thoughts, positive thoughts. Because I want, in my next life, what do I want? Let's think about that. What do I want in my next life? But at the very least, I want to be a human again. And there are many people who think, well, I'm a human this time around, next time I'll be a human too. No, but who's given that guarantee? Scriptures have not given that guarantee. They say, yatha karma yatha shrutam. I had quoted this verse from Kathopanishad earlier, that as your actions, so are the consequences. So what kind of life will you have next time around, next journey that you'll take? Will it be as a human, or will you get a demotion? Will I get a demotion like an animal, insect, bird, tree? No, I'm a human right now. Yes, but our actions will decide what will happen to us in the next life. Nothing is by accident. There was a student and he was writing the exam, and he hadn't studied all year long. He was just playing the fool and didn't study. So what is he going to write? He doesn't know the answer to a single question, so I'll just give you a little bit of Hindi. Some of you can understand it. He only wrote, "Gaay hamari mata hai. Aage kuch nahi aata hai." A lot of you didn't understand that, did you? Gaay hamari mata hai. The cow is my mother, and beyond that I know nothing. Gaay hamari mata hai. Gaay hamari mata hai. The cow is my mother, and beyond that I know nothing. Gaay hamari mata hai. The cow is my mother, and beyond that I know nothing. Gaay hamari mata hai. The cow is my mother, and beyond that I know nothing. Gaay hamari mata hai. The cow is my mother, and beyond that I know nothing. Gaay hamari mata hai. Hindi students, you should have understood that. I should have heard some laughter. Those of you who have been studying Hindi for years, but stuck at ka kha ga. Thodi thodi aati hai. So, Gai hamari mata hai, aage kuch nahi aata. That's what he wrote. He thought that the teacher would be so pleased with this poetry. But the teacher wrote, the teacher was more clever. He said, Bail hamara baap hai, tumhe number dena paap hai. So he said, the bull is our father, and to give you even a single mark would be a sin. So what was the student thinking? Not writing any answers, but I'll get full marks? That would be foolish. What are we thinking? I'll become a human next time around just like that? We are fooling ourselves. I know it's April Fool's Day. Let's not fool ourselves. We have to work for the human form of life. This human form of life that even Devtas in Swargalok, even they want. Gayanti Deva Kilagita Kani Dhanyastu Ye Bharat Bhumi Bhage. Devtas want the human form. They want to be born human so that they may worship God and so that they may attain God. And we have that form of life. So next time around we may not have it. So if we want to go on the human journey once again next life, then we have to look at every thought of every single day, all the thoughts that we are thinking every single day, because we're not going to get the human form just like that. There could be a demotion. There could be a promotion, that we're born human and then we get fruits of our devotional practice that we did diligently. It's all up to us. God has given us the freedom. So in this very first satsang tonight, I would just like you to think about this, that we are all on a journey. One day we will have to leave this body and our journey will continue because the soul doesn't die. Right? Everybody, we all know that. Nainam chindanti shastrani nainam dahati pavakah na chainam kledayantyapo na shoshayati marutah. In the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna says to Arjuna, the soul is indestructible. Weapons cannot kill the soul. Fire cannot burn it, water cannot melt it, nor can it be withered by the wind. So the soul is indestructible. The soul will go on a journey. That means we will go on a journey. But as what? In what form? And if you are born as a human, what kind of family will you be born in? All that is decided by our actions of the present. So we have a great responsibility to ourselves meaning the soul, to have the right thoughts, the desirable thoughts. The traits that we admire in another person, those are the traits we need to have in ourselves. We need to live mindfully. We need to look at our thoughts, examine our thoughts, and think, okay, I thought of these, I entertained these thoughts all day today. These are good, really good. These are not so good. These are absolutely not tolerated. I will not tolerate them. So I will not think these thoughts tomorrow. And in this way, taking stock of our thoughts, being aware of what we have thought throughout the day, we need to cut down on all the ridiculous thoughts and the sinful thoughts, and we need to keep the good and godly thoughts in our mind so that our journey onward is a beautiful journey, so that we may at the very least, journey on, we may keep going on the human journey. The ultimate is that we will go and live with God in His divine kingdom. But until then, at least we want to be born human. Until then, we want to be practicing devotion to God. We want to be serving God and Guru. We need to be doing sadhana, and for that we need the human form. So we need to aspire for that. So when a devotee asked Shri Maharaj, my Guru, a question, Maharaj, how can I be sure that I will get a human form again? Shri Maharaj said, if you have spent half your time in your life, half of the time has gone in devotion, then you can be sure you'll be born a human. So during the day, if at least half the waking hours you are thinking of God, then you are sure to be born human. So may we all take stock of our thoughts. May we all choose to think may we all be very discerning and very careful about what we are thinking, because every action has a reaction. And in the eyes of God, every thought is an action. I'm very happy to share this message with you. I'm happy to remind you of this message. But this message comes from a great, great saint, as you heard in the introduction, Jagat Guru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj. He has made the philosophy of scriptures very easy to understand. And so I hope that you will keep on listening to his divine message. I'm just a mouthpiece. The message is all his. And I glorify my Gurudev again and again. I glorify Bhagwan again and again. And I thank you for lending me an ear and paying such great attention tonight. And I am here to serve you. This is just my first satsang. I'm very happy to be here. And I'll continue on for a few weeks. And I'm planning to be in your service. And I hope you'll give me the opportunity to serve you. बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे.